guys, it's Olivia and I'm back with another video. So, 6 months ago, I made a video talking about how I was going to lose my license. Because if you watch the video, I'm just going to give like a quick little background. In Ontario, where I live, you have three levels of licenses: your G1, your G2, and your G. Your G1 is your permit where you can drive with a licensed driver in the passenger seat. Your G2 is your road test, and your G is your highway test. And so I had my G2 for 4 years, right? And I never went for my G. And you have 5 years from the date that you get your G1 to get your G. So I got my G1 on January 27th, 2015. So I had until January 27th, 2020 to get my G. And 6 months ago, I got a letter in the mail telling me, oh, you still don't have your G. You need to get that, because if you don't, then you're going to have to go back to your permit and you're going to be a 21-year-old who has to drive around with their parent in the passenger seat, which I'm pretty sure most 21-year-olds don't want, right? So if you watched that video, the reason why I never went for my G is because I couldn't parallel park. And even before that, I made a video trying to teach myself to parallel park. And I'm just watch the videos to know how bad I am at that. I can drive, I just can't parallel park. So I now have my G. I went for my test. You guys already know this. If you saw it on my community tab, I got my G on January 21st of this year. So 6 days before it expired, which if I had failed, oh, that would have been tragic because I would have only had 6 days. But I passed. It's all good. So in this video, I'm just going to talk to you about everything that happened leading up to my road test, what happened during my road test, and a whole bunch of stuff that went wrong, but the most important thing went right because I got my license. But before we get into the video, be sure to subscribe to my channel because I make new videos every Monday. I make anywhere from storytime videos like this to rant videos to how to make money online videos. And with all that being said, let's get into this week's video. So let's talk a little bit about leading up to my test. So in my video that I made 6 months ago, I said that I was going to go to a driving instructor, just do one lesson, just to learn to parallel park because I know how to do everything else. I've been driving on my own for 4 years, but then I've been driving with a passenger for the past 5 years. So I'm I got my permit on January 27th, 2015, and I went out driving with my dad the next day on the 28th. And I'd been driving like at least once a week since. So I'm like, I've been driving for 5 years. I know how to drive. I just can't parallel park. So I was like, I'm going to get a driving instructor for one lesson, learn how to parallel park, and then I'll sign up for my test. So my cousin, my older cousin, he is the driving instructor that teaches driving instructors, which basically means one of the potential places that I was going to do my test at, he is the one who teaches those people who are going to administer the test. So he was going to know the exact route that they were going to take me, and he was going to show me the whole thing, right? So I was like, that is great. I am in the perfect situation to pass if I just get one lesson with my cousin. So then I call him up and we make an arrangement to do so. So my test was on Tuesday, January 21st, and we made an appointment for the Sunday prior, so 2 days prior to my test, right? So I call him up, make the arrangement with him, and then I sign up for my test. So then what happened was there was a miscommunication as to what time we were going to practice. And so basically, I ended up contacting him after the sun went down, and he was like, oh, I thought you were going to call me. And I was like, I thought you were gonna call me. And then so basically he's like, oh, well, we can't do it today. It's too late. Let's do it tomorrow. And I'm like, tomorrow's Monday. I have school. It's not gonna work out. So I guess I just have to do it without the lesson because I already signed up for the test. And you need to give, if you want to cancel your test, you have to give them 48 hours notice or else you don't get your money back. And so this was Sunday night and my test was Tuesday morning. So it was less than 48 hours. So I couldn't cancel the test at this point, right? So that was one thing that went wrong. And then one thing that started to make my heart beat because I'm like, I can't parallel park and I'm going to go do a driver's test or I have to parallel park, right? So then another thing, I told you guys this in my video last week. I my car is a little broke up right now. And my car does this thing where when you're on the highway, it like revs and then it just keeps doing this. Like the RPM like meter just goes woo, woo on the car. And so my dad did some repairs with it. He took it to the mechanic, all this stuff. Unfortunately, it's still doing that. I would argue it's not as bad as before, but it's still doing that. But anyways, my dad went to fix it after my test was over, right? No, back it up. I went to a mechanic before that and he claimed that he fixed it. And then on Monday, when I was driving to school, my car was doing the thing. So then I'm like, I cannot drive this car tomorrow for my driver's test because they're going to think I can't drive because the car is going to keep going like this. It acts as if you're pumping the gas, which I don't because I know how to drive, right? So, but the feeling when you're in the car and the RPM meter on the car makes it look like I'm pumping the gas. So I'm like, if I drive my car on my driver's test, I am going to fail because the car is not in the position to be doing this test right now. So then I come home Monday night and I tell my dad that my car is still broke up. And so then we decided that I was going to use his car. And so my car is a 2009 Nissan Versa. His car is a 2016 Honda Civic. And if you've ever seen these two cars, you know that the Honda Civic is longer and wider. And that's not to say that I can't drive that car, but it's like with a driver's test, you're already nervous. So it's best if you're driving a vehicle that you're comfortable with. I have driven my dad's car before, but I've been driving my own car like every single day for a year. So that is the car that I am most accustomed to. So that's why I wanted to do my test in that car. But like 6 months ago when I got that letter in the mail, my car was not broken. So if I had done the test back then I wouldn't have had that thing like, oh, my car is broken. But I procrastinate. As you can see, I did my test with 6 days to spare, right? So that was the second thing that went wrong. First, I didn't get my lesson. Second, I had to do my test in my dad's car and not my own. So I had practiced parallel parking in my own car. Like I went on the internet and I practiced since my lesson fell through. And I like was fairly confident with it. And so now I'm doing a test in a different car, one that I didn't practice in. So I was like, fine. My test is at like 8:55 in the morning. I'll wake up at like 7 and practice parallel parking in my dad's car. So the next morning on the Tuesday, the day of my test, I wake up early and I go to parallel park. The problem is, this is Canada and it snows here. And so it wasn't snowing on the day of my test. I made sure to check the weather before I booked my test. It wasn't snowing on the day of my test, but it had snowed a couple days before. So there was a bunch of snow up on the curb. So then I'm like, I can't even parallel park. I can't teach myself to parallel park in this situation because I can't see the curb. So I can't see how close I am to it, if I'm going to hit it, if I should adjust, because there is no curb, right? And also a few days prior to that, my car had gotten stuck in the snow because of how much snow there was a couple days before. So I'm like, I don't want to like try and parallel park in my dad's car all up on this snow that's pushed up to the side of the curb and then get his car stuck, right? So I'm like, okay, I can't practice parallel parking in my dad's car. So that is the third thing that went wrong. So anyways, I drove to the test center and I like logged in, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm sitting in the car and I'm nervous. I'm not going to lie. So that is everything that went wrong. And now I'm going to walk you through what happened in my test and something that something that wasn't terrible, but was terrible at the same time during this test. So anyways, I get in the car. I'm waiting for the examiner to come. He comes, checks like left blinker works, right blinker, horn, blah, 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 all that good stuff. Gets in the car. We start driving, right? The day before, I had looked up the route for this particular test center, and the first turn was a right. When I did my test, the first turn was a left. I was like, so now the whole route is going to be different because instead of going like east, I went west. So I'm like, what? What? Everything is just going wrong at this point. The first turn was in the complete opposite direction. So obviously every other turn is going to be different because I'm going the other way. Anyways, so I'm driving. I'm like, I know how to drive. It's fine. I'm driving. He's giving me directions, telling me to lane change, left, right, stop here, blah, 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 blah. So I was freaking out to do my driver's test because I can't parallel park, right? So I had talked to friends. Some of them said they didn't have to parallel park on their G test. Others said they did, right? So anyways, I'm driving and we do the highway part first. We go on the highway, do a couple lane changes, come off the highway. Then we get back on, going back the other direction, do a couple of lane changes, get off the highway. Then we are on the regular road, do a couple of lane changes, blah, 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 blah. Then I know where this test center is. I know what street it's on. We get back to the road that the test center is on. So I'm like, it's over. Like, I can see the test center. The test is over. I didn't have to parallel park. I didn't have to 3-point turn. I didn't have to do anything. The test is done. I just went on the highway, lane changed, and now we're done, right? So I'm like, home stretch. Like, I was like, it's done. So I'm like ready to pull into this test center. The test center's on the left. And then he's like, can you turn right on the street for me? And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is what I didn't like. They give you the false sense of security, like, oh, your test is over, because you can literally see the test center, and then they tell you to turn away from the test center. So then I turn away from the test center and we're on this side street. So then I'm like, okay, obviously this is the street where we're gonna do like the parallel parking and stuff. And I was like, that's terrible. You make people think that they passed. You make people think that it's done, and then they can see the finish line, and then you tell them to go the other way. So anyways, I get on this side street, and someone else was doing their test, and they were parallel parking. So then he tells me to do an emergency stop while I wait for that guy to finish parallel parking. So I do the emergency stop. It's fine. Then that guy, he successfully parallel parked, and then he pulls away. And then, so it's time for me to parallel park. And then the examiner is like, oh yes, now it's time for the easy stuff. And I was like, this is not the easy stuff, at least not for me. For me, the highway was the easy stuff. So he was thinking, oh, she did well on the highway. Now we're just going to do the easy stuff. We're just going to do parallel parking. Not the easy stuff. Anyways, I pull up beside this truck, and I honestly, I did it in the first try, and I am so proud of me. Like, I remember vividly, I let out this sound. Oof. Because I thought I wasn't going to make it. I thought I was going to hit the curb, even though once again, there was snow all up on the curb. So basically, I heard snow crunching under my wheels. So I was like, that means I'm close to the curb. I'm probably going to hit it, and then I'm going to fail even after I did everything so well. So I remember letting out that sound. Oof. And then he was like, nah, you're going to make it. You're going to make it. And then I did make it, and I was parallel, and I'm so proud of me because I did it in a car that I never got to practice in a car that's bigger and longer than my own, and, well, wider and longer than my own, whatever, you know what I'm saying. And I did it on the first try, and then we did a 3-point turn, and then went back towards the test center. And then when we got in there, I forward parked, and then he was like, that was really good. And I got my license. And you see, at the end of this test, I knew I passed before he even said anything. Like after I aced the parallel parking, which was at the very end, I knew that I passed. Like when I when I did my G2 test back when I was 16, I didn't know if I passed once I came into the test center parking lot. I didn't know if I passed because I'm not gonna lie to you, I apologized a lot during my G2 test. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Like I messed up so much, but apparently you're allowed to make like 16 small mistakes or something, and I think I made like 4. So yeah. But when I did my G2 test and I came into the parking lot, I didn't know if I passed. Once I got into the parking lot of my G test, I knew that I passed. Like I knew it. I was like, I did everything perfectly. I lane changed perfectly. I checked my blind spot. I did everything. I parallel parked. I 3-point turned. I emergency stopped. I did everything perfectly. I didn't see my mark. I didn't see my test score. But even if it wasn't 100, I got like 99. Like I know how to drive. I just needed to prove to the government that I know how to drive. And now I have, because I am fully licensed. It hasn't come in the mail yet, but I got like a piece of paper for the meantime until my actual like card comes in the mail. And so yeah, I'm a fully licensed driver, and I never have to worry about driver's tests ever again. Every 5 years I have to retake the picture, but that's it. I just have to pay money. I don't have to take a test. I don't have to pay money and take a test. Like how terrible is it? Like your G test is like $95. Imagine paying $95 just for somebody to tell you that you can't drive. Like, that's terrible. So I passed and everything is great. Also, right after I went to like retake my license photo because it was gonna expire in 6 days, and my hair looked like this and it was all cute, and like I'm not even gonna show you my license photo from when I was 16 because it wasn't cute, and I'm so happy that the picture is now updated. So yeah, that is the story of the roller coaster of me getting my full license, my G license in Ontario, and it was a lot. It was a lot. But I passed first try. I did first try on my G1, first try on my G2, first try on my G. And that another thing that I felt pressure about is because no one in my family had failed any of their tests. Like neither my parents nor my brothers. And then there was also that in the back of my mind, like, I can't be the first one to fail. I can't be the first one to fail. And so that was also pressure, in like made up pressure. Like no one would have said anything. Like you know what I mean? But that was made up pressure that I gave myself. And so there was a whole bunch going on in my mind. I'm like, I'm driving a car that's not mine, and it's bigger than mine, and I haven't driven this car in a while. I wish I was doing it in my car. Like, I was thinking way too much on that test, but it's okay, and it all went well. So yes, that is the story of how I became fully licensed. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you think your friends will enjoy it, be sure to share it with them. All my social media links will be down below in case you want to follow me on there. Be sure to subscribe to my channel because I make new videos every Monday, and I'll see you next Monday with a new video.